His highest soulbound trial room reminded Cade of a small church. Eminence stood up front. The walls were vaulted, and there was scant lighting, with spotlights that focused on him. The group walked up to the front of the room. Holding his shoulders proudly, Eminence raised his arms, greeting them. His head was even with Tobias at 6 feet tall. Not a blemish lined his features. His Roman-shaped nose fit his perfectly sculpted face. His royal blue eyes suited his reign over the world. Although something within them put Cade's nerves on edge. He didn't seem to hold the world's salvation. His eyes were calculating. "Welcome. As I'm sure you know, I'm Lutheran Eminence," he announced. "I'm thrilled to finally meet you four face to face. Please address me as your highest, or Emperor Eminence." The man is the definition of self-centered, Cade thought. A glass podium, no more than 5 feet tall, was positioned front and center. The podium seemed to tower higher, holding an intricate silver book. Although it appeared historical and elegant, the book shot an eerie vibe down Cade's spine, so he tore his eyes away quickly. The world dictator spied where Cade had looked. "Ah, that is a very sacred book. All the prior contestants on this show have signed it. Once you've completed your soulbound trial with me, you'll be able to see the book firsthand. Everyone will sign your will inside, so it's official." Cade didn't like the idea of signing that book. He could only focus on one thing at a time. Right now, Cade needed to focus on making it through his soulbound trial. Eminence clapped his hands together. "As the saying goes, I've saved the best for last." A creepy, shrill laugh escaped his throat. "You four have had the highest ratings of any season. You're also friends. It's the reason I decided to do your trial together. I've viewed the Voyage Home clips. Maybe this journey has given insight in knowing that sometimes love is blind. The trials were built to test if your love was strong enough to survive. Hopefully, you've found those answers and are ready to start the rest of your lives." Cade's heart pounded against his ribcage. Eminence continued. "The purpose of this trial is for you to let me know the conclusion of your soul." What an odd way to phrase it, thought Cade, feeling his stomach roil. "There's been so much controversy since the law for arranged marriages was passed. The temptation trials were set up as a chance to prove your love, to show that you are soul-bound with the person you claimed to love. Now you stand before me to proclaim if you still feel the same. I've vowed to honor any couple who still wants to go forth with marriage. Just know, if you choose the person that you entered the trials for, it's binding." His highest looked at each of them, and the group nodded. "So, you can either stand by your choice, or go with my choice from the island, being thy will." Tobias whispered under his breath, "Thy will?" "Mental surrender of the ego can be a hard thing, Mr. True. Try not to get wrapped up in thinking. If you escape my will, it lessens yourself," Eminence explained. Tobias's brow furrowed. Knowing him, he was probably trying to hold his tongue. "I've been chosen to rule the entire globe. With that comes a tremendous responsibility. How the world had been governed in the past threw us into another war, which almost caused our annihilation. So now, I'm governing with a different strategy to sustain world order, one that I hope will unite us. Keep us safe." What a wonderful speech, full of bullshit, Cade thought, snorting. Clearing her throat, Stefani asked, "Your Highness?" He nodded, giving her permission to speak. I do believe that rules help to maintain order, though I'm wondering how controlling love can turn the world into a better place. For love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It's not arrogant or rude, but rejoices with the truth." That sounded like a Bible verse. Stefani was Catholic. A spark lit in his royal blues. Cade hoped he didn't get pissed with Stefani for questioning him. Eminence's mouth curved up in an amused grin. Dear Miss Ponce, you're a believer. I like that fact. Corinthians 13, 4-7 is a powerful scripture. For Christ's sake, he knew the actual verse she quoted. Cade pondered, at a loss for words. The law directs us in the true meaning of love, and love doesn't maliciously follow its own way. It's a fulfillment of the law. The law is love's eyes. Have you read that in the Bible, Miss Ponce? She gaped at him. The ruler graced her with a contrived smile. Romans 7:21-23. Well, surely you must know Romans 13:1. Let every person be subject to the governing authorities. 13:2. Therefore, whoever resists the authority resists the ordinance of God. On a roll, he dished, those who resist will incur judgment. Romans 13:3. For rulers cause no fear for good conduct but for bad. I have been appointed as the world's ruler, so that makes me the law. Trust in those notions. Stefani cowered as his malicious eyes pierced her. Cade hadn't been to church in a while. Some of what he'd said sounded vaguely familiar. His highest seemed to know the Bible like the back of his hand. Definitely loved to quote from it. Cade didn't understand what all the jive about disobedience and abiding by the law was about. Eminence sounded like a hypocrite. He'd conveniently left out fornication, a sin they promoted on Temptation Trials. His highest clasped his hands together. So, now that we've gotten that settled, let's continue with your soulbound trial. Who would like to go first?